Evangelion is a masterpiece, an anime that to this day is one of the most memorable anime I have ever seen. From its trend-setting characters like the tsundere trope with Asuka, and even the generic Shinji ripoff we so commonly see to this day. This anime not only released at a time when the anime industry was just years from collapse, it also defied the odds and saved the industry we now all love today. What's not to love about a good underdog story anyways? And Evangelion is just that, an underdog anime that defied its own fate and at the same time doomed us all to anime hell because it made a lot of us diehard anime fans. After the apocalypse, there lies one last hope for the human race, Nerv, a secret special agency made to protect the Earth from the attack of the Angels. The Angels, an unknown alien force, are seemingly almost supernatural beings of unknown origin bent on destroying the human race and kickstarting another apocalypse. But Nerv has designed these mechs called Evangelion units that are fitted to pilot 14-year-olds. Using these EVA units, they will fight off the Angels one by one in hopes of saving the human race. In Evangelion, life isn't fair. The thing I love most about this series is that it's so dark and almost bleak at times. It has no qualms about making these characters suffer. For example, Shinji Ikari is made to suffer like no other and has to deal with the loss of his mother, being estranged, and also has the future of the human race and planet Earth on his shoulders. No easy task for Shinji Ikari. This creates a very dynamic character where you're, well, not exactly sure if he'll be sane by the end of this series. But the real joy of this series is experiencing how Anno's real-life personal troubles come to life in this anime. Yes, of course, we have his famous bouts of depression being inspiration for the characters in this series. There are examples of this all across this anime. We also can't ignore the faults with this anime though, like for example the pacing issues and cost-cutting measures in this series. Some of these issues have made the series that much better and more artistically expressive, for example the finale being drawn in crayons pretty much, and while some things like the thermal expansion scene and Kaworu being held for what seems like days in a mecha's hand. Did I also mention the elevator scene? This anime has its issues and its quirks. Let's be honest, it's rough around the edges, but to me, these problems are pretty extremely minor and something that only became a big deal and blown out of proportion because it was memed to death. The pilots of these EVA units are Shinji Ikari, a teen who after years of being separated from his father returns to help him stop the apocalypse. But not all is well. Shinji is lost and Misato Katsuragi takes Shinji in to help him cope with his disturbing reality somewhat. But all of this is difficult for Shinji because he pushes people away, which is described in the series as Hedgehog's Dilemma. The next pilot is Rei Inami, another girl who is very mysterious, but as the story goes on you learn way more about her. She's easily one of the most well-written female leads in an anime ever, but I can't say a lot about her because that would lead to spoilers. The last pilot is Asuka Langley Soryu, coming in later in the series. She's got a couple problems to say the least. Her mother as a child went insane over time, and so she grew up in a broken home. Asuka, like Shinji, also has Hedgehog's Dilemma, but instead of hiding from people, she lashes out and hurts people she likes or cares about. The characters in Evangelion are, well, they're really cool, they're really good, and they're highly characterized. Also, they're very quotable. This is one of the few animes where you can quote these characters. This anime's animation is gorgeous and complex. In the later half of production, they ran out of budget and had to make a couple creative episodes to get the series done. This involved crayons and rough, almost pencil-drawn sequences in the final episodes. While on paper that sounds awful, and you're right to say that, the way it's done is so dramatic and emotional, artistic. It makes the animation even better. And it's funny because visually the series is so diverse. While the first 2 or so episodes are basic and set the story visually, the series over 24 or so episodes evolves. It almost completely changes its style every 5 or so episodes. Now, of course, this was a part of the director's vision and showing how his stages of depression affected his works. This was also done in the writing as well, and it does carry over without a hitch. The 90s were an amazing time, but a great time for English dubs. With bad translations due to low quality old tech, and the fact that they're worlds apart really hindered a lot of anime. But with Neon Genesis Evangelion, this never really became that big of a problem. Sure, you will see different lines from sub to dub, but they're not drastic differences or mistakes. I'd say there aren't too many, just from watching a couple episodes Japanese and comparing them to their English counterparts. So this anime really does make an English dub work, and in the 90s era of anime, that was very rare. Each voice actor feels natural delivering their lines, and it's overall very solid. Of course, you can also compare it to today's dub voice acting, and yeah, it doesn't hold up in some places, but for the 90s, especially 1995, this anime blew dubs out of the water. I love this score for this anime. Blending original music and classical arrangements together in one anime is brilliant. Evangelion is one of these few anime where I listen to the soundtrack pretty often. The only other anime I do this for are Cowboy Bebop and, surprisingly, Your Lie in April. So to start off, the score is perfectly implemented into this anime. And I mean perfectly. The fight scenes are backed by these incredible pieces that feel gritty, and believe me, they are gritty. But outside of these fight scenes, most of the score is relegated to small ambient pieces that aren't in the forefront of the mix. Instead, they take a backseat to the drama. This isn't anything new for anime or really any kind of medium, but I really do like this touch because they could have easily been overexposed. But overall, I do think this score is easily one of the best out there to this day. I mean, how many times have you heard Fly Me to the Moon by Frank Sinatra? Now tell me the cover for it at the end of the series isn't as memorable as the original. And let's not forget A Cruel Angel's Thesis. It's a very memorable intro song that even to this day is critically acclaimed and has a whole meme dedicated to it. It even has a lot of lyrical content that backs up the story of this anime, something that doesn't happen too much, at least in good anime intros. Final rating time, this one is a little difficult to explain overall, because on one hand, to many, this series would not click with a certain group, but on the other hand, this is the perfect mecha for another group. And then there is the middle group, the people who don't really even know this exists. The story starts out simple enough, and by the end, if you don't want to pay attention to how complicated it is, you can simply enjoy it for the spectacle that it is. And trust me, it's a spectacle by the end. But also, do realize when I say complicated, I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean that in a good way. It's so easy to think that having to think is bad nowadays, but it's really not. The anime has a simple thread that you can follow throughout the show that will get you through it. But it's alright to think about all the other things that are happening in this series, and it's quite a lot. Evangelion is simply one of the best, and that's a heavy title to put on something. But this anime revolutionized so many things within the anime world. When everything was so dedicated to sell a product, Evangelion told a story first, and in time became a product. But now it connects to a modern audience differently. It connects with its story and superbly written characters. It doesn't have to have cutting-edge animation or techniques now. It just has to tell its story. And the story it tells is deep and confusing and beautiful, and that's what makes it great. Evangelion gets a 9.5 out of 10. So thank you all for tuning in to Anime Friday Season 3. Share your thoughts on this anime using the hashtag Anime Friday on Twitter, or share them with us in the comments below. I just want to do that little outro. This is recorded in 2018. I actually went back to my old Anime Friday script and I re-recorded it all since Studio Kara is going back and taking down all previous Evangelion videos on YouTube. So I'm re-uploading this one, a little bit more edited style, a little bit more modern style, and this is what you guys get. If you guys want to see more of this, where I go back and do more of an Anime Friday type style review, please put down in the comments below. I am kind of thinking about doing that more, but I kept the old scoring as well in this one. I wanted this review to be pretty much the same review as the original one, but I wanted to update some parts of it. I wanted to add some things to it, and I thought it made the review a little better at least. So with that being said, thank you all for watching this episode of Anime Friday. I appreciate all the support you give me. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon button. It really helps me out. And also make sure to hit that like button and put down in the comments below what are your thoughts on Evangelion, and I actually want to know if you guys watched the original Anime Friday for this video before I, of course, did a little bit of a touch-up for it. So let me know if you watched the original video. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon button, and make sure to like this video. Thank you all for watching Anime Friday Season 3. I will see you guys later.